Remember when working in tech was the dream? Free food, innovative projects, and sky-high salaries. Now, it's more like a nightmare. In 2024 alone, 75,000 tech workers lost their jobs. What happened to turn the industry's golden age into a mass exodus? You know, back in the day, tech companies were like these magical places where everyone wanted to work. Google was getting like 2.5 million job applications every year. That's insane. And the money? CEOs in tech were pulling in an average of $24 million. It wasn't just the top dogs either. 9 out of the 15 highest paying companies were tech firms. The whole industry had this reputation for being innovative and treating employees well. People felt like they could just walk into a tech job and have endless opportunities. It was stable, it was exciting, it was the future. But as we'll see, this golden age was built on a foundation that was about to crumble. So what happened to turn this tech utopia into a dystopian nightmare?
The new year is not starting off on a happy note for workers at some of the country's largest tech companies, with more layoffs just announced.
After massive waves of tech layoffs, employees may have thought their jobs were a little safer. That might not be the case at this point, with new forms of stack ranking.
Well, let's fast forward to early 2024. In just a few months, thousands of workers lost their jobs. That's like wiping out the entire population of a small city. And it wasn't just a blip. This was part of a larger trend that saw over 260,000 tech workers laid off in 2023 alone. How did we go from tech being the safest place to work to suddenly feeling like the riskiest? It's a perfect storm of factors, really. You've got economic changes, shifting industry dynamics, and the aftermath of the pandemic's tech boom and bust cycle. During the pandemic, tech companies went on a hiring spree. Everyone was stuck at home, glued to their screens, and tech seemed like the only industry that was thriving. These companies thought the growth would never end, but then interest rates started rising, making it harder for companies to keep pace. And it's not just the little guys feeling the pain. We're talking about the giants of the industry here. Google, Amazon, Microsoft all announced massive job cuts. These were the companies that used to be seen as fortresses of job security, but not now. You know, it's kind of like what happened with the NASDAQ index. From 2010 to 2019, it went up by about 347%. That's huge. Everyone thought tech stocks could only go up, but then 2022 hit, and suddenly the market took a nosedive. Companies that were all about growth at any cost suddenly had to pivot to focus on profitability. Weird, right? Because if you look at the overall US economy, things don't seem that bad. In January 2024, the economy added 353,000 jobs, but tech is still laying people off left and right. It's like the tech industry is in its own little bubble, disconnected from the rest of the economy. And here's the thing that's really messing with people's heads. For years, everyone thought of tech as this safe haven. Like if you got a job at a big tech company, you were set for life. But now people are realizing that tech isn't immune to economic pressures. It's just like any other industry. One expert put it this way: for a long time, these tech companies felt like almost the safest place to work. Suddenly, that's been turned on its head. And that's really the crux of it. It's not just about losing a job. It's about losing that sense of security, that belief that tech was somehow different or special. But here's where it gets even more interesting. These layoffs, they might not just be a temporary thing. Some people are saying that the tech sector might be able to produce just as much, maybe even innovate more, with fewer people going forward. That's a pretty scary thought if you're working in tech or thinking about getting into the industry. And it's not just about the number of jobs, it's about how companies view their employees. There's been this shift from valuing employees and their satisfaction to prioritizing efficiency and profitability. It's like the human element is being squeezed out of the equation. So what's it actually like now for people working in tech?
Can you explain for me why Brittany Peach is getting let go?
I won't be able to go into specifics.
Wait, why though? I just started. I've been working extremely hard. It's just very, very shocking. Very, very shocking. I've really given my whole energy and life over the last 4 months to this job. And to be let go for no reason is like a huge slap in the face.
Just a couple years ago, tech jobs were seen as the most stable gigs you could get. Now about 25% of Americans view tech jobs as unstable. There's this whole new factor that's making everyone in tech kinda nervous: AI. We're hearing estimates that AI could potentially replace up to 300 million full-time jobs globally. That's not a small number. It's like you finally land that dream job in tech, and now you're wondering if an AI is gonna come along and do it better than you. And you know what's really telling? The way students are reacting to all this. There's been this massive drop in job applications from tech students to internet and software companies. We're talking about a more than 30% decrease between late 2021 and 2023. That's huge. These are the people who are supposed to be the future of tech, and they're looking at the industry and going, yeah, maybe not. So where are these students looking instead? Government jobs. Applications for government positions have shot up by 112%. It's like we've entered this bizarro world where working for the government seems more stable and appealing than working for a tech giant. But people who are already in tech and suddenly find themselves out of a job, it's rough out there. Some folks are applying for over 1,000 roles without any luck. The job market in tech has become incredibly competitive, and the dynamics of hiring have completely shifted. It's not just about having the right skills anymore. Companies are looking for something different. They want people who can adapt, who can handle uncertainty. Because let's face it, uncertainty is the new normal in tech. But it's not all doom and gloom. Sure, things are different now, but there's still opportunity for those who are willing to adapt. One of the big shifts we're seeing is that companies are starting to favor generalists over specialists. It's like they're hedging their bets. You know, in an uncertain environment, they want people who can wear multiple hats. It's all about reducing risk and improving productivity. If you can do a little bit of everything, you're more valuable than someone who's really good at just one thing. This shift is pretty interesting because it's changing how people think about their careers in tech. It's not just about being the best coder or the most innovative designer anymore. It's about being adaptable, being able to pivot when the industry changes. In fact, a recent survey found that 77% of the class of 2024 said job stability was their #1 factor when considering employment. That's a huge shift from just a few years ago when everyone was chasing those big tech paychecks. It's like people are realizing that there's more to life than just making a lot of money. They want to feel secure in their jobs. They want to feel like they're making a difference. This shift in priorities is forcing the tech industry to adapt too. Companies are starting to realize that if they want to attract and retain top talent, they need to offer more than just a big paycheck. They need to create an environment where people feel valued, where there's room for growth and development. Some experts are even talking about a potential reimagining of the entire tech industry. Instead of this relentless focus on growth at all costs, we might start seeing a more balanced approach. One that values innovation, sure, but also prioritizes stability and sustainability. This could have some pretty interesting effects on the job market. We might start seeing new types of roles emerging, ones that blend technical skills with other disciplines. Maybe we'll see more emphasis on things like ethics in tech or on creating sustainable technology solutions. But here's the thing about tech, it's always evolving. The industry that emerges from this period of upheaval might actually be stronger and more resilient than before. It might be an industry that's better equipped to handle future challenges and changes. Of course, this doesn't mean it's going to be easy. If you're working in tech or thinking about getting into the industry, you're going to need to be flexible. You're going to need to be willing to learn new skills, to adapt to new ways of working. So what does all this mean for you if you're in tech or thinking about getting into it? Well, it's time to get real about what a career in this industry looks like now. The days of guaranteed stability and crazy perks are probably over, but that doesn't mean there aren't opportunities. You just need to be smart about it. Think about what really matters to you in a career. Is it just about making a ton of money? Or do you want something that's fulfilling and gives you a sense of security? Maybe it's time to broaden your skills, become more of a generalist who can adapt to whatever comes next. As we move forward, how will you redefine success in your career? Will it be about chasing the next big thing or finding a balance between innovation and stability? The tech industry is at a crossroads, and so are the careers within it. It's up to you to navigate this new landscape and find your place in the evolving world of tech. Speaking of industries going through big changes, have you seen what's happening with fast food? Check my recent video about fast food vanishing in 2024 to see how another sector is dealing with major shifts. The parallels might surprise you.